Hello and welcome to the Arsenal Way. We're back again with our morning agenda show. You're probably wondering where TC is, where Bailey is. TC is doing the night shift today ahead of the Orlando City vs Arsenal game. And Bailey, yeah, Bailey's just on holidays. He's loving life. But I'm joined by two fantastic guests today. First of all, Chris, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, morning Umar, Alfie. Hope you're both well. I'm good, thank you. Glad it's cooled down a little bit. But yeah, hope of course everyone else is keeping well. And yeah, looking forward to delving into some topics this morning.
Also joined by Alfie. How you doing today, mate?
Yeah, morning guys. Doing well. Hope you're both well as well. Yeah, looking forward to getting into it, and again, looking forward to seeing the Arsenal back in action tonight, tomorrow morning. So yeah, looking forward to getting into it.
Facts. I know I can't wait, but I'll probably be asleep by the time the match comes on. What with the late kickoffs. But first things first, I think the best way to start this show is the first name on everyone's lips. I think at the moment, Oleksandr Zinchenko. He's set to become an Arsenal player. We're just awaiting an official announcement by the club. He's jetted off to Orlando. He's departing Manchester City's training camp in America. Chris, what a signing, I think. Obviously, when the links came about to fruition, obviously there was talks at first with Lisandro Martinez. But do you think Arsenal had this contingency plan in place always?
Yeah, quite potentially. I mean, I think it was maybe a couple of months back that Arsenal were initially linked with him. At the time, it made a lot of sense still because he was a player that obviously Arteta knows very well from his time at Manchester City. We know we're in need of extra depth and support at left back due to Kieran Tierney's injury troubles and the struggles of Nuno Tavares' first season, and that sort of lack of consistency in his game. And obviously there's loan talk of him going out on loan as well. So, there was always probably not a priority for the club initially. But as the windows dragged on, obviously you mentioned that initial pursuit of Lisandro Martinez and the subsequent failure to get that deal done. Although saying that, it's not really a failure, is it, in the end? Because we just decided to opt out of it due to the demands that Ajax were setting. And yeah, now it looks as if we've swiftly turned our attention back to Zinchenko, and we've wrapped up a deal fairly swiftly. It's good to see because as you all know, the window can be unpredictable. Sometimes you turn your attention to one player, it doesn't work out, and you need contingency plans, you need backups, and that's what we've done really well. With the Zinchenko deal, we moved on quickly. We were serious in negotiations. We put good offer on the table. Personal terms were not a problem, and everything just clicked together. I mean, similarly to maybe the Fabio Vieira deal earlier on in the summer, that happened ever so quickly because negotiations went smoothly. And yeah, I'm really pleased with that. As I've been saying on previous streams and in articles, I'm really happy to see Alex come in, very reliable for Manchester City, a great character on and off the pitch, a great person, and he'll bring a lot of much needed experience, versatility, as I mentioned, and quality to the team. So interested, sorry, to see where he fits in most. We know he can play at left back, but we also know he can operate in central and attack in midfield. So it was going to be very difficult to find someone who fitted the bill like Lisandro Martinez, for example, because he can play centre back, left back, even defensive midfield. But you could argue that Arsenal are getting a much better, well, certainly in terms of financial sense, a better deal, and maybe surrounding the player in terms of quality. Certainly, obviously, added Premier League experience as a bonus. You could certainly argue that Arsenal are getting the better deal and a better player. So, yeah, really pleased, and yeah, just waiting for the official announcement now. It seems pretty imminent, due to how swiftly things have moved, and obviously City are in the States as well, so obviously that's helped. And yeah, hopefully even we'll see him maybe in the Chelsea game coming up. That would be quite nice. But if not, I'm sure we'll see him in the Emirates Cup.
Definitely. Alfie, I'm gonna put you on the spot here. This morning I've woken up, I've been on social media, I've been on Twitter, and a lot of Arsenal fans have been discussing Kieran Tierney and what this deal will potentially mean for him and his first team place in this Arsenal setup. Obviously, injuries have hampered him, have hampered his progression in the past few seasons. But come the first game of the season, Crystal Palace away, do you think Oleksandr Zinchenko will be in the team rather than KT?
I think for the Palace game, if of course Tierney is fit, then I think that Kieran Tierney will start at left back. But that's not to mean that I don't think Zinchenko. I think that Zinchenko could play that left sort of central midfield role. I think sometimes people forget the quality that Kieran Tierney brings into the side. I think that he's a fantastic player when he's fit, and for me, up there with one of the best left backs in the league. But of course, we can't keep going on about his injury record because we know how poor it is. And sometimes with a player, I mean, we've seen him, throughout my lifetime at Arsenal, talented players that are just hampered by injuries. And sometimes, no matter how talented a player is, it can sort of hinder you. And, really important parts of last season when, we had both fullbacks out and we had to deal with Tavares and Cedric. And when Tavares didn't work, we're having to shift over. I mean, we've seen Xhaka at left back. We saw Cedric playing, on a less favoured left back role. Then I think that sort of, you can see why we're doing these sort of deals. And so I think for the Palace game, I'll stick with what I originally said. I think that Tierney will start if he's fit. But then I think that Zinchenko, if, Tierney's injury records continue like they have been, and unfortunately, I think they will continue to be like that, then I don't think it'll be long until we see Zinchenko, taking over that starting spot. And, once he has taken it over, I think it'll be hard for Kieran Tierney to win it back.
We've got a comment here on the screen by Snake Eyes. The best ability is availability. And I tend to agree. I think in the past few seasons, Arsenal have always struggled in terms of injury problems. We've got to the latter stages of the season, in the important games, in the important moments, compared to like last season, we were fighting for the Champions League, but then the injuries piled up and we didn't have the squad depth, the right amount of players to come in and solve those problems. But I think Mikel Arteta has seen that and he's been ruthless. And I think that's a good trait, because if you want to be the better teams, if you want to be the teams who are challenging the likes of Manchester City, Liverpool, you need to be ruthless. And while I think KT is a fantastic player, is a fantastic person in the dressing room, at times you can't rely on him. And as Alfie touched on, when you have Granit Xhaka moving to left back, when you have an inexperienced player like Nuno Tavares coming in and you're putting all that pressure on him, you're going to struggle in the big games. And I think Mikel Arteta has seen that with the likes of Zinchenko now coming in. You got that experience with Gabriel Jesus up front. They're looking potentially for Yuri Tillemans, another Premier League proven player. So Arteta, I think the first team that they have, Arsenal last season, was good, but I think now they're building a squad, and I think that is key, because I think for a squad game you win trophies and you challenge. For a team, you'll have good games in patches, but over 38 games over the course of the season, you're going to struggle. So I credit what Mikel Arteta and Edu have done this summer, and long may it continue. But enough about transfers, because yesterday a trailer, obviously, as everyone will be aware, was released on Twitter, was released by Amazon's channels. The All or Nothing full trailer was released, and there was a lot of interaction around that trailer, Chris. What with potentially the likes of Aubameyang, we're going to be seeing the captaincy. What happened with there? A little fight potentially between Cedric and Lacazette. Um, Mikel Arteta showing that energy, that attitude in the dressing room. Chris, when you saw that trailer, what was the first instant thing that you thought, "Wow, I'm looking forward to watching this"?
Well, I mean, all of it, I think. And I did initially have that reaction, like Lacazette in the trailer. Wow. Yeah, a lot to take in. It looks tasty. you mentioned there looked to be a little scrap appearing to be between Cedric and Lacazette in training. We see it on the touchline, but we don't see what appears to be included in the documentary. Certainly, watching the trailer is, another side to Mikel Arteta that we're not familiar with, and that is, all of that emotion. We see it to a certain extent, like I say, on the touchline, but not too deeply. And I think we're going to see it on another scale. And I think people may watch it, judging that, by the trailer, and obviously I'm sure we'll obviously see so much more in the full thing, obviously. But I think people will appreciate, just how much time, passion, and energy Mikel Arteta gives to this football club on and off, the pitch. And I think we're going to learn a lot more about him as a person as well. The Aubameyang captaincy saga. There was a little, obviously, teaser to do with that as well. It will be interesting to see how Aubameyang took the decision, because we don't know too much about that. Obviously, maybe we'll see the staff discussing the matter privately away from the players. It'll be interesting to see how and why they came to that decision to strip him of the captaincy. And then you've got the players' reaction as well. So a lot to take in. I think we'll learn lots of different things about certain players as well, how they reacted to the good times and the bad, because there were so many ups and downs last season for, at the end of the day, for the youngest team in the Premier League. And, being the youngest team in the Premier League and representing, a club the size of Arsenal, it brings huge pressure. And I'm sure, they learn a lot from it. And there's good days, there's bad days. So, it'll be interesting to see what life is like away from the pitch as an Arsenal player. So much, Umar, so much I could sit here and say, I'm looking forward to that, looking forward to this. And there was obviously so much to take in from that trailer. But of course, 3rd of August, I think that the first episodes drop, not long to wait now. So really looking forward to it. I'll have the popcorn at the ready. I'm not too sure, if I'm ready just yet to, watch it all end in disappointment, because we all know that, unfortunately. But there's been so much said over the last few years about the lack of transparency with the club, the communication with the fans, and it being quite a closed door. But I think the club taking this step and filming this documentary, it will open a lot of eyes. It will teach us a few things, hopefully, too. I'm hoping, and really looking forward to it. I'm sure no matter what it is seen and what is been filmed and what we learn, it'll just reiterate the size of and importance of Arsenal Football Club. And I'm sure it'll be good.
Yeah, I've got this comment on screen by Steve Stone. I know a lot of people will be looking forward to Aubameyang, including myself. But as Steve said, I'm quite interested into Granit Xhaka's little speech. Just blame me, I think he said. And I know what with social media companies, accounts, football clubs, they tend to edit clips as well. It was similar to the Aubameyang captaincy when Arteta announced that they would be taking the captain's armband off him, and then they went to Lacazette, and he said, "Wow, that's probably Lacazette speaking about something else, what he watched on Love Island or something like that." I'm not sure, but Xhaka, I like that comment. Just blame me. I know it's probably tongue in cheek, but we spoke off air, Alfie, and I know you think when this show comes out, a lot more people will be respecting Granit Xhaka more, will be appreciating him more. Do you think a lot of people will be, after the show concludes, thinking, yeah, we gave Granit Xhaka a little hard of a time. He's not that bad.
Yeah, for definite. I mean, I know we both said that we're big fans of Granit Xhaka. Obviously, the first couple of seasons, the mistakes that he made, and I think some in some games, he was made out to be a scapegoat, and I think now he still is made out to be a scapegoat. And I think that sort of this season's just proved that he's always had the qualities, but we just haven't been playing him to the best of his abilities. I think when you get him away from having to deal with, I remember the Burnley game when, I think it was it Ashley Barnes pressed him and they scored from it. We need to get him away from those areas, which we have this season, and we've seen sort of, we've seen the better side of Granit Xhaka, the Granit Xhaka that you see more often for Switzerland, and the Granit Xhaka that I think we'll start seeing more of for Arsenal, and the Granit Xhaka that I think still has a massive role at this football club. I think that people don't see sort of the leadership qualities. Well, I think they do, but sort of how important he is behind the scenes. And, obviously his little stint as captain and, the disrespect, throwing the captain's armband, I did sympathise with him. If people, are sending you death threats and sort of to your family, you're obviously going to get to a boiling point where, it happens. And, he's only human. These footballers aren't robots. They have emotions. And, I was gutted because I think for me in the Arsenal team, we talk about Tierney and Odegaard. For me, Granit Xhaka is the biggest leader in the dressing room, and is probably the best player to become captain for me. But, it's never going to happen now. It's happened once and it hasn't happened again. So I think for me, that's what I'm looking forward to most. As sort of Steve said, I think that he's going to come across really well in the documentary. I know you mentioned sort of the way that they edited that, putting the red card against Liverpool. I think that was sneaky, like you said. I think that's just sort of to build up engagement with, other fans, and it's done what they intended it to do. I've seen Arsenal fans complaining about it on Twitter, and it's just classic Arsenal fans going straight for Granit Xhaka. But no, I think that it's going to be great to sort of see behind the scenes. Like Chris said, we haven't sort of seen it in years gone by. We've started seeing these access all areas on the YouTube channel. They've been really interesting, but this is just taking it to a whole new level. And I'm just excited to see how the football club runs behind the scenes, and like you say, see the footballers from more of a human side and not sort of just the footballer aspect of their lives.
No, I tend to agree. Personally, what I'm looking forward to is the fight, to be honest, between Cedric and Lacazette. I'm intrigued to know what kicked that off, who came in between the players. I know Lena was there, but it'll be interesting. But I like that. I like that fight. I like that the players care, because they wouldn't be fighting if they didn't care. They would just be thinking, yeah, it's a football game. We've lost a couple of matches. It's not a big deal. But the fact that they've shown that there is effort and there's determination within the team. Just got a question here from Peter to touch on who will become captain. It's more than likely. I know Mikel Arteta has spoken in the past few days regarding this, but all signs lead to Martin Odegaard. It's not definitive, but it seems that Martin Odegaard more than likely will become the next Arsenal captain. And I think Mikel Arteta has spoken highly of him as well since he's been here. How Martin Odegaard leads from the front, how he's a great player in and around the dressing room. So I wouldn't mind that in terms of him being the next captain of Arsenal Football Club. But enough about TV shows, enough about captaincy. We got a game tonight against Orlando City out in Florida. It's half 12 kickoff. I tend to believe UK time. It's going to be sweltering conditions there. We're complaining about how hot it is being in the UK, but the Arsenal players have been working out in Florida, and the heat there has been quite drastic as well. But in terms of the game itself, Chris, obviously, we played Chelsea on Sunday. We played the Premier League team with Everton a few days ago. But do you think this game against Orlando City will see, say, the likes of Lucas Torreira, Reece Nelson? Because Orlando City, no disrespect to them, they're not a Premier League team. So we won't see a lot in terms of who will be playing in terms of the first game against Crystal Palace. So I think I believe like the likes of Reece Nelson, Nicolas Pepe. Do you think there's more opportunity for these kinds of players to play today?
Yeah, I think so. I agree with you. I think there'll be a bit more sort of rotation tonight, maybe similarly to what we saw against FC Nuremberg a couple of weeks back. And yeah, I expect maybe some of the younger players, maybe some players in there that obviously we know, are looking to move on this summer as well. And it'll be interesting to see what Arteta goes. So I think he'll obviously have one eye on the Chelsea game coming up, and we'll probably see a lot more regular first team players who, as you say, will probably start against Palace for the first game of the season in that one. But at the same time, it's important to keep the momentum up, the tempo up. You need to obviously always balance things out and keep players happy. Even if it is pre-season, you need to be giving everyone an opportunity, everyone some playing time. In the hope that someone might surprise you and give you something a little bit different. But yeah, expect some rotation tonight. It was quite a physical game, wasn't it, against Everton the other day? And there was some heart and mouth moments when some of the players went down. Martinelli, Gabriel Jesus, most noticeably, obviously Sambi Lokonga towards the end. So hopefully it's less physical tonight, less dangerous for those players. But we're in good form, aren't we? We haven't lost the game yet. Players are looking sharp. You've certainly noticed. Oh, sorry about that. There's a fly on me. You've certainly noticed the sort of the drop in tempo and fluidity when the team has been changed about a little bit. Obviously, we saw it in the second half against Everton. I think first half we were all over them, and that was when a lot of regular first team players started the match. It was quite a strong lineup, but then Arteta rung the changes at half time, and you could notice a difference, a bit of a dip in the second half. So maybe, just as a guess, and it's just my personal opinion, maybe we'll see a lot more of the players that featured in the second half against Everton start tonight, and then we'll see some more sort of rotation, more substitutions at half time and in the second half. As you say, no disrespect to Orlando, but going from Everton to Orlando, the task should be sort of less demanding, and we should easily get the win. So still looking forward to it regardless. I've been a bit of a sucker for paying the money and watching the game staying up, but it's what pre-season is all about. You can't get me away from watching Arsenal and seeing obviously some of the new players involved as well. It gets you ready and pumped for the new season. So looking forward to it, and hopefully, like I said, we can continue our winning streak at the minute.
Alfie, obviously we've seen Fabio Vieira in training pictures yesterday. It's unlikely that he'll be playing any part probably today. Probably be a bit too soon for him. But how big of a positive is that for Arsenal? Because since he's come to Arsenal, he's gone to the back burner, I think, in terms of we just keep making signings, which is good. But I think a lot of people are not speaking that much about him because I think there's a player in there personally, and I think I'm excited to see him play for Arsenal. Potentially, he could play against Chelsea, whether it's 20 minutes, 15 minutes off the bench. But how much are you looking forward to seeing Fabio Vieira in an Arsenal shirt?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it because I'll be honest, I'd not seen any of him live before. We signed him. I think I watched the Liverpool game, but I don't really recall seeing him play. So I've only seen sort of clips of him from YouTube. But from what I've seen of him, sort of the compilation videos, he looks really impressive and looks like a player that will sort of improve our creativity, which of course is one of the main things I think Arteta was looking to add in this summer window. So I really hope that he gets, even if it's 10, 20 minutes at the end of the Chelsea game, because I think from what we've seen, back in training, you'd imagine that he might push through and be fit enough to play a little part, in that game. But yeah, just excited to see him because, like you say, a lot of fans sort of forgetting that we've signed him, me included. You look at the hype around, Jesus, Zinchenko. It's sort of almost like, again, because he's not been pictured in training, it's like, you sort of forget we've signed him. So it's almost like it's a fresh signing. So yeah, just excited to see him get going. And for me, someone to push Odegaard, because I know someone mentioned sometimes Odegaard looked like he went quiet in games. I do think sometimes he looked tired and looked like we didn't have anyone else to sort of replace him. So someone like Vieira, I think Tom said he can play close to the strikers, and with that front three, Martinelli, Saka, and Jesus, I'd imagine would probably be the starting three for now. I think he'll be looking forward to be licking his lips, because that front three is just, I can't wait to see it get underway, and I'm sure Odegaard and Vieira will be they can't wait to get started and play behind them.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think that attacking front three or four, it just gets me excited, and I think the fact that Arsenal have a lot of options for the upcoming season, I think there's going to be excitement and there's going to be a lot of goals, and I'm looking forward to that. We just have time to touch on a few of your guys' questions. Echo Chris, I think this was in regards to Martin Odegaard being chosen as the next Arsenal captain. Echo, I said it's unfortunate Arteta has settled on Odegaard, a number 10 who rarely scores, doesn't create much, and when in position to shoot and score, he freezes. He's often bullied and hides in all big games. Thoughts?
I'd say that's a bit too harsh. I certainly don't agree with the creativity bit as well. That's what he's done best for us, creating opportunities, picking out passes that you can't see from the sidelines or from the stands. He's so technically gifted and on the ball, very, very silky and skillful. So I agree with part of it, and that's the scoring side. I think he can certainly add more goals to his game, and maybe at times, doing a bit of a Mesut Ozil, getting in some good shooting positions, but not pulling the trigger. Rather, instead laying it off to one of his teammates or attempting to pick out another pass. I do agree that is one side of his game that he can and must improve on, but I'm sure he will, because he can score goals. We have seen it before, and some really nice finishes from him in the past. And I don't necessarily think he freezes in big games at all. I think, and especially when you look at the attacking quality that we've added and may even still add this summer. Alfie mentioned Jesus, Fabio Vieira, you've got Saka and Martinelli alongside him. We could even still put Yuri Tielemans in behind him in central midfield. Who knows? We've got so much attacking quality there now. Some very technically gifted players that are very progressive in their style of play. And I think Martin Odegaard will only continue to improve, continue to grow as a player, because it's easy to forget that he's still quite young, and he's only now going into his second proper season really with Arsenal after making that permanent switch. So I've got no concerns about Martin Odegaard as well. I think he's a top player. I think he's one of the best creative players in the league, and one of the most talented sort of attacking players in the world. And I certainly think he's got potential to grow even further and become even stronger. So no concerns about that for me.
No, I tend to agree with that. Alfie, Lynn Simpson, she's got a question here. Some other fans are not happy with our signings. Don't know who that is, but but for me, if we get Lucas Paqueta from Lyon and 2 other players, we have had an extra window. I tend to agree. How do you feel?
Yeah, I think that the signings that we've made so far have all added quality, depth, and will push players for starting spots, if not take them. Obviously, I think the main one, Gabriel Jesus, we needed to replace Lacazette and Aubameyang, really. And I think just from the small clips we've seen of him in pre-season, that sort of half against Nuremberg, I thought he was fantastic. Just how excited we got seeing him control the football and score against Everton the other day. I think we just sort of forgot what we'd been missing with no disrespect to Lacazette. I thought he was fantastic, in previous seasons, but this season, obviously, it's been tough to watch him play up front at times. So yeah, I think that the signings that we've made so far have been fantastic, and I've got no complaints myself. I think that, the 2 players, I'd probably add, a wide forward. I know we've been going on about this mystery winger that Fabrizio Romano is yet to reveal. Excited to see who that is. I've seen links to Sane. I don't believe him, to be quite honest, but I do think if we signed him, then I mean that would be, if we signed Sane and Tielemans, I wouldn't even want to think where we'd finish next season, because that front three, I think he'd go straight in at left winger. And I mentioned Vieira and Odegaard licking their lips at that. Add Sane to the mix, and that is just some front three. But no, I mean, no complaints for me. I think, just like you say, I think a winger and a central midfielder, and I'd argue it's a 9 out of 10 window, pushing perfect.
Alfie, man, you got me dreaming. Leroy Sané to Arsenal, imagine. But yeah, that's the end of the show, guys. Sorry if we couldn't get to all your questions. I think it's just too hot, but we're excited for tonight's game. But yeah, I want to thank my guests. Chris, thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Alfie, pleasure as always. And of course, thank you to everyone tuning in, and enjoy the game tonight, this morning, wherever you're watching it from. And hopefully we can carry on our winning form and get another victory.
Alfie, likewise, thank you for jumping on.
Thank you both for having me on, and thank you to everyone who listened in. And to the American fans, enjoy having a game where you can watch it at a normal time. I know I can't wait till it returns to sort of 3 o'clock kickoffs, but now enjoy the game, everyone.
No, I agree. Yeah, with the channel right now, if you want to watch our interviews, we've got Emil Smith-Rowe, Gilberto Silva, Aaron Ramsdale, Mikel Arteta, Gabriel Jesus, they're all uploaded onto the channel. But yeah, we'll be back again tomorrow, same time at 10 a.m. But thank you for joining. Thank you for liking, and yeah, keep following us down the Arsenal way. 49, 49, undefeated, playing for glory, Arsenal.